Hello there, Sarah from 17 once again. This is my NieR Automata very hard difficulty video walkthrough. We're playing as 9S, this is chapter 4, the Mad Songstress. So I think she's called like Beauvoir or something. I don't remember the full name of this boss that we're taking on, but it's the opera singer lady who wants to be beautiful. And it's the exact same boss fight. The only difference you're going to really come up against in it, playing as 9S, is he can't stay in the air as long as 2B can. So it's not as easy to just jump up there and hit her in the top half and do those combos and stay out of the floor and everything. But you don't necessarily need that, because you're coming in much more prepared this time with a lot more abilities. And then you can use things like the hacking tools and the taunts and stuff and get some good results. I don't know if I've mentioned the taunt, but it can be incredibly powerful. The instructions on how to use the taunt are not the best. It tells you to mash the left analog stick, and it means clicking it in. So if you click it in numerous times, you'll flash your light, and that apparently pisses people off and gives you the damage benefit. If you can get a lot of those taunt chips, you can increase your damage astronomically. And because all it does is lower your defense, you can't get a lower defense than we have on very hard, so that chip is one of the most powerful for very hard difficulty. And I recommend that you use it if you want to really get some damage. In this walkthrough, you're not going to see me do it at all in these first two campaigns. Potentially in the final campaign you'll see it, but it all depends on what I do in that campaign, if I even do that campaign at all. Because it must be said, folks, the post-game chapters, which is the final 7, I think it is, I don't like them at all. I think they're unbalanced, boring, broken, gauntletty, just piss-poor experiences. There's some interesting environments which I quite like, and the story stuff is all spot on. You know, it pushes the story forward and it gives you a different impression of what's going on, and then overall kind of fills in the gaps and gives you an idea of why everything is happening the way it is. But just from a gameplay perspective, when you combine this game's checkpoint issues with this game's gameplay issues, it doesn't breed fun. It breeds a very obnoxious experience.
What are those?
The reason I put her on balanced as we entered in here is because if you put her on aggressive, she will attack all of these dudes. And you can get experience and what have you, which is nice, but I always feel guilty when I fight the clown robots, because they seem to be having a good time, and I feel like I'm coming in and being a dickhead, so I don't do that. But I really, really like the music in this game, and I've probably been talking about that quite a lot, because I don't think there's a song in this game I don't like. Everything about it, the music, I like the music more than I like the game, which is really saying something, because the game has got a lot of good qualities. At the moment it seems to be a bit buried though, with how it's come out in between quite a lot of good titles. I saw that critically the game seems to be doing really well, but I don't see too many people talking about it. Like, it must be the whole, Zelda's come out and everybody's in on the Zelda stuff, and, Ghost Recon's just come out, maybe a few people have that, maybe some people are still playing Horizon. There's been a pretty busy period for games. Nioh is still in everybody's blood. We've got Dark Souls DLC coming quite shortly. We've got Mass Effect launching after a massive hiatus. It's kind of a stacked area for a game like this to come out, but I think that the game will get its own attention, because it is quite different to anything else at the moment that you can be playing. And that definitely is one of the qualities that I want to get across to people, that you're probably going to do stuff in this game that you didn't think you'd do. And you can't say that too much for games these days. I don't think anything compares to my surprise when I got hacked by the Songstress coming up for the first time, because I didn't have a clue what was going on. It was weird. And it was funny and interesting and bizarre, and it stands as a point that's pretty much what NieR's all about, having those like what the hell is happening kind of moments. Like this right now. This is a boss if you attack this tank, and it fires all kinds of bullets and projectiles, and you can get on top of it and pull its cores out, and it tries to run you over. It's got it takes quite a pounding as well, especially if you play on the harder difficulties. It's a pretty tough fight. You fight one of these when it's aggressive on the post-game content in a sequence that has unlimitedly spawning androids, and it's really annoying. But you don't even have to in this sequence. You can completely just be friends with it and let it do its ticker-tape parade and just get on with the game. How many games can you do that in? Do they design an entire enemy that you can go most of the game without ever seeing because you decided to be friendly? It's such a strange concept, but I like it a lot. And it's definitely one of the strengths of NieR in general. It's got so many interesting aspects. Like this right now on the roller coaster. It's the only instance in the game where we do anything like this, and it's a bit of a missed opportunity, I think. But it seems like the design is always in the mind of, you know, don't overstay your welcome kind of thing. Unless we're talking about the shmup sections, which the shmup boss later on is definitely a long sequence. But I haven't played this game in about a week, and I'm wondering if they've updated anything with patches or tweaks or what have you. Because it could be so easy to just change the state of the game to make it so that more people can enjoy it. Because on the comments of the walkthrough for this is filled with people mentioning how they're not even bothered about playing on the harder difficulties, they don't care. Because their idea of challenge is not bad checkpoints, it's a difficult video game that's been designed to be demanding of the player, and the fact that the checkpoint works that way is enough to put them off even trying, which I think is sad. And I don't mean sad of the people, because I'm with those people. I mean sad for the developers. You've made this game, but because of a few, you know, questionable choices, you've essentially ostracized the players that would have really enjoyed the thing that you were going for. And I've been checking on Platinum's blog to see if they've, you know, talked any more about the development of this and gone into any more details. And I haven't really seen any kind of reactions to it or anything, because I'm always interested to see what their developers say. Of course, it's always put through a Japanese filter of super, you know, they have a very disciplined and professional way of giving information when it comes to work. Their work life and the disclosure of it seems to be keeping up the appearance of professionalism at all times. It's kind of hard sometimes to get any kind of insight from it outside of the creative stuff, because, you know, they always just sound so damn grateful, don't they? They sound so grateful to be doing what they're doing, and really happy to be working with creative people, and, you know, just full of platitudes and pleasantries towards their job. And I don't know about you folks, but even the best job in the world, I'd still find a part of it that was perhaps not to my tastes. And I think a lot of people do. There's always some part of your job that you feel like isn't as good as it could be, or could be better, and something like that. So it'd be interesting to see them be a little bit more critical of aspects of their design. And I don't know if that's a big no-no as a developer, if you can't be critical, but I would be so critical of my work, because I am. You know, I've always been that way. And I think that helps. You know, if the moment you're satisfied with something, you've probably lost your edge. And that's not to say that you should, you know, continually iterate and improve and never release anything, because then you'll just be the writer that's always editing and never releases his novel. And that's not what anybody wants to be, but at the same time, if that hunger's abated and it feels like you've sated it, then, I don't know, that doesn't seem like a good thing. Because it's the creative impulse to constantly strive and to constantly, you know, forge forward that gets the best results. And it is interesting, like as I mentioned, when you read those blogs, because it'd be nice to see if there was anything that they were critical of or didn't particularly like, or something that they felt was would have been better in a different way. But then you never know if it's a matter of honour and respect. Maybe that would be seen as a big disrespect. Which, that's the kind of stuff I'd like, though, as a director. I want people to tell me where they think I'm being wrong. You know, what they're critical of, what they think would be better, because those people could then become, you know, bigger roles in the production because they were right. It can be very difficult for people in control and people in charge to see, you know, other people's opinions, especially if they're set on a vision. But you need those people to be around you so that you can at least think to yourself, well, maybe, what if I'm wrong? What if it's not the way? Because if you surround yourself with yes men, you'll hear exactly what you want to hear and your arsehole will be pretty clean, but creatively, you'll be redundant.